That's all you get. We got to do Proverbs 6. Oh, maybe I showed it. Name that tune. Okay, Proverbs 6. What you didn't see is I just recorded this entire video without pressing the record button. So I feel like this isn't fair. This isn't my first shot at it. But I didn't do my commentary. I just read through the passage, read the chapter, and then realized that I didn't record it. So I didn't say any commentary yet. I was just starting. But I'm going to read it again. This is Proverbs chapter 6. You know where Proverbs is? It's in the book, the library of books called the Bible. It's pretty much right in the middle. You open it up, there's Psalms. Right after that is Proverbs. Cool? Ancient wisdom written thousands and thousands of years ago, collected and put into 28 chapters, 30 chapters, 31 chapters. I don't know. I should know that. I do know that, but I can't remember. And I'm going to read chapter 6 to you. And this is the NIV version, the New International Version. And if you want to read your own version, go ahead. If you've already read it, skip ahead. If you don't want to hear me read it, skip ahead. If you don't like this video, why are you even here? Go somewhere else. It's not like there's not other stuff you can watch. Here we go. Proverbs 6. My son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, if you have shaken hands and pledged for a stranger, you have been trapped by what you said and snared by the words of your mouth. So do this, my son, to free yourself. Since you have fallen into your neighbor's hands, go to the point of exhaustion and give your neighbor no rest. Now allow no sleep to your eyes, no slumber to your eyelids. Free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, like a bird from the snare of the fowler. I know it says son. We'll talk about that in a second. That's just the way literature was written when this was written. This is speaking to any son or daughter. Go to the ant, you slugger. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler. Yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a thief, and scarcity like an armed man. A troublemaker and a villain, who goes about without a corrupt mouth, who winks maliciously with his eye, signals with his feet, and motions with his fingers, who plots evil with deceit in his heart. He always stirs up conflict. Therefore, disaster will overtake him in an instant. He will suddenly be destroyed without remedy. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil. These are my actions. What's the literary term when you action something? I don't know. A false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. My son, keep your father's command, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them always on your heart, fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. When you awake, they will speak to you. For this command is a lamp, this teaching is a light, and correction and instruction are the way to life, keeping you from your neighbor's wife, from the smooth talk of a wayward woman. Do not lust in your heart after her beauty, or let her captivate you with her eyes. For a prostitute can be had for a loaf of bread, but another man's wife preys on your very life. Can a man scoop fire into his lap without his clothes being burned? Can a man walk on hot coals without his feet being scorched? So is he who sleeps with another man's wife. No one who touches her will go unpunished. People do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his hunger when he is starving. Yet if he is caught, he must pay 7-fold, though it costs him all the wealth of his house. But a man who commits adultery has no sense. Whoever does so destroys himself. Blows and disgrace are his lot, and his shame will never be wiped away. There's a big difference between grace and disgrace, right? For jealousy arouses a husband's fury, and he will show no mercy when he takes revenge. He will not accept any compensation. He will refuse a bribe, however great it is. Okay, chapter 6. Yesterday was chapter 5, which was pretty straightforward, kind of one message. This, on the other hand, could be a book. As a matter of fact, it's been movies, it's been stories, it's been fables. So let's just start. There's several sections. I'm just going to go through them in order, comment on them, and move on. So the very first part is all about, it says, put up security for a neighbor, shaking hands and pledge for a stranger. This is kind of the idea of, think of like co-signing on a loan or vouching for somebody. You're going to pay for somebody else, right? And basically the author is saying, don't do this. Realize, you know what, that was a bad idea. I shouldn't have vouched for that person. I shouldn't have co-signed. I shouldn't have put myself up, my credit up, because if this person now goes and screws all this up, now it's on me. It falls on me. And he's basically saying, just don't do that. And if you do, fix it. Don't even go to sleep. Don't go to bed. go find that person and get rid of that agreement, get rid of it, basically free yourself, because otherwise you have been ensnared. Then he talks about essentially laziness in work. We've all heard, I think, the fable or the tale of the ant and the grasshopper, right? The ant who works all through the summer, all through the seasons of bounty to store food away, so that then the winter comes, the ant has plenty of food left over, whereas the grasshopper just hops all over the place. And if you see, there's a movie made about it. Is it Ants, or I don't know, Bug's Life or whatever, where that's exactly the story they tell about the ants that do all the work and the grasshoppers come in and have to steal the food because that's the only way they can get food because they didn't work during the time that you could. And then talks about laziness, right? Is sleeping, slumbering, a little folding the hands, rest, and you'll be impoverished. Just talking about providing, doing work to provide for you, for those that you can care for, and then for maybe those that you can help that can't help themselves. Um, a troublemaker and a villain. Now he's talking about people that just have bad character, going around, they're winking, they're lying, they're plotting evil, they're stirring up conflict. Basically, the author here is saying you behave like that and bad things are going to happen to you. If you're trying to cut the system, you're trying to, I mean, it might always be the grasshopper, I guess. That's not what he's saying, but you can see the connection there. If you're going to go around and scheme to try and provide or to try and earn or to build your own wealth or your own security, as opposed to working honestly for it, bad things will happen. But then it goes into the 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable. If you've ever heard of like the 7 deadly sins, that's kind of where this comes from. There was a movie made, was it Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt? I don't remember. If you've never seen it, it's a crazy movie, a good movie. I think it's called 7, and it's about a murder. Kevin Spacey's in it as well, and it's about a murderer who is essentially living out the 7 deadly sins, and/or I think he's murdering people that are committing those sins. But anyways, that's what those are. So let's see, and you know what? I think I just lied. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. Okay, I just lied. That's not the 7 deadly sins. That's different. But it's kind of interesting that they use the word 7. Anyway, so forget everything I just said, but that's still kind of cool about the 7 deadly sins. We can talk about that later. If I was preparing this, I would have done something to prepare that, but that's what you get for off the cuff commentary. Um, and then it goes into, again, another warning against adultery. But what's interesting, before he gets into the adultery thing, keep away from your neighbor's wife, it's talking about keep your father's commands, don't forsake your mother's teaching. And this imagery of bind them always on your heart. Think of something that's bound together, right? It's like wrapped around. He even says fasten them around your neck. And I kind of like this idea. Imagine if you had, I don't know what it is, something you don't want to do or something you shouldn't do or whatever, and you fastened around your neck. Let's say it's like a cord or a strap or something, and then there's just like this plate, and it says like don't whatever. Okay, like don't do that. And then you were out somewhere and you had the opportunity to do the whatever, but yet around your neck is this thing that's like don't do that. Maybe even for other people to read. Like I'm thinking this is maybe a bad analogy, but maybe you're trying to, I don't know. Um, not do a bad habit or something, and you wrote on there like don't let me whatever, or don't whatever it is. Let's say it's eat a piece of cake. I don't know, it's a stupid example, but don't eat cake, and then you're somewhere and there's cake and you're like, hey, can I have a piece of cake? And the person goes to hand you a piece of cake and they see this thing fast around your neck says don't eat cake, or maybe don't let me eat cake or whatever. They might go, hey man, that thing on your neck says don't eat cake. So I love this imagery of how we can be reminded of stuff in this way. Yeah, when you walk, they'll guide you. When you sleep, they'll watch over you. When you wake, basically, they should be in you always, right? These teachings, because it gives you a good life. And then there's the idea of, again, staying away from the wayward woman. Sure, you can have a prostitute. I love this imagery. Can a man scoop fire into his lap without his clothes being burned? So we're talking about, right, either being with a prostitute or being with someone else's wife, adultery, and the idea of like fire burning in your lap. I mean, can we get where that's coming from? I mean, do you want things burning in your lap? That's a really bad thing. So he's equating adultery and or being with prostitute as the same thing as like putting hot coals in your lap, which is very bad for this area of your body, which I think is kind of what he's trying to draw that imagery out. And then talks again about how the reason why you don't mess with someone else's wife is because you kind of can't go back from that one, right? I mean, if you're stealing bread because you're hungry, it's like, hey, the guy's hungry. But if you're taking another man's wife, it's kind of like that husband. No one's going to fault the husband for whatever he may do. Right now in the news, Cain Velasquez, if you don't know, found out that his son was being, kind of molested, a 4-year-old, by this guy, and they let the guy go with no bail. And then Cain went ballistic, and he's like a nasty dude, mixed martial arts fighter. Probably went over there, beat the crap out of the guy. Ended up shooting his gun at their car, and he's in jail, which he probably should be. But just the fury, of that's a father, not a husband. But there's a lot of people in the news saying, "Hey, man, I don't blame the guy. I might have done the same thing, X, Y, and Z." So that was a lot in that chapter. I encourage you, like I would with any chapter, to just kind of go back and ask yourself what part of this speaks to you, right? Um, Obviously, maybe not all of it, but there's probably something in there that you could pull out and say, yeah, I could probably apply this to my life. So that was a long one because there's a lot in there. It's a long chapter, and there's just so much to it. So hopefully that was groovy. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I am, I know. Please comment. I'll respond to them, and have a great day. Peace out. Oh, can I end with music again? I'll give you another chance to name that tune. All right, I'm out. See ya.